right, here we go. Overdrive, off and running. TSN 1050 on the TSN app, your home smart speaker, and up on TSN 4. Bryan Hayes, Doug, Jeff O'Neill, Jamie Noodles, McLennan. What an afternoon we're about to have. What an afternoon.
What do we
got?
Yes.
I'm feeling great. You know, a little chilly today, but a beautiful day, and I'm in good spirits.
Tee it? Did you tee it today or no?
Happened to play with our friend right here.
How did it go?
Guys that we know well.
Hold on a second here. By the look at the guy's face over there, it didn't go well today, or something happened. So spill the beans. What do we got here?
Jamie, let me just say that in my time watching the Ryder Cup, competitive golf, playing a lot of golf, I've seen some disgusting things. Okay?
Yeah, you have.
But nothing takes the cake of what I witnessed on the 17th green today playing with this guy and James Duthie.
So Trump over there was...
No, it wasn't us. We were very sportsmanlike.
Noodles, I'm going to tell you what happened, okay? Yes. This guy and this other loser... They were sandbagging. They were getting these strokes that were outrageous every hole. Great job, Jimmy. 4 for 3, 3 for 2. It was insane. It was basically every hole. Mm-hmm. And me and Don Nichols, who's just a stand-up guy and a good player himself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
had a putt. Remember how we were talking about Evan Bouchard going up to Jerry at center ice and just sticking his hand out saying, So I have a putt to extend the match. They're somehow beating us. And out of the corner of my eye, I see them take their hats off before I even roll the putt.
Oh, no. So they...
Yes, they were prepping for me missing, and they take their hats off.
To shake hands.
And I have never seen anything like... That's worse than...
Sportsmanlike. It was sportsmanlike, and the ball was still rolling, and we had our hands out. Great match.
I'm telling you, this ball came to a stop. The ball came to a stop, and I looked to my right, and I saw Hayes' face with his hand out like this, and it was disgusting.
It was great.
No,
it was sportsmanlike. It was gratifying. James Duthie, he's been to all the great sporting events around the world. Duthie wouldn't put us in a position that was unsportsmanlike, and I followed Duthie all the way to the sun today, man, all the way to the winner's circle. James Duthie was hitting shots that were absolutely outstanding all day.
Wow.
And I was riding that wave, and it was a great wave. And listen, it was a fun day, and that's all that matters. We got out. We had a good time. We were talking about the games last night, right? Everyone's frustrated with different things. They're frustrated with the Jays because they can't hit. They lost last night.
Yeah.
You know, if you're on the Oilers train or whatever, or you just want a long series, you're frustrated after last night.
Yeah.
You know, the U.S. Open this week, Scheffler versus the world, it feels like it's a formality. Scotty Scheffler's going to win this. Do you like that? Do you not? A lot of great conversation. But ultimately, it was very sportsmanlike. It was, I thought, very cordial. And you guys
came out on the
well.
winner's side.
That's right.
Like looking at when it came up on my screen, had I known that you two golfed today, I could tell who won and who didn't.
Yeah.
Because you've got this glow about you. You can't stop smiling. Life. It's 4:03. You haven't stopped smiling for 3 minutes. The other guy.
It was disrespectful and it was ignorant because.
So the hand came out
furthermore,
while the ball
game
was still
outside
rolling.
the game.
Ball was cruising.
The ball
past
was
the
still
right
rolling,
edge.
and I look, and his ugly face was right nose to nose with me, and I wanted to say, "Excuse me." It was disgusting. And furthermore, there's a game inside the game where if somebody has the opportunity to post a number, you're kind of like, get this done, and they didn't even care about that. Like my putt was to go 2 under to go to 18,
right?
And that was not. Not even a thought. They took their hats off. They're like, this guy, we hope he misses, and he's going to miss, and we want to shake his hand and end this. And it was an ignorant display.
Wow. It may have been, but listen, we were there to win, right? Like the Florida Panthers. I think we represented that Panthers energy last night and this morning. And, the Oilers are trying to say the right things. McDavid's trying to say it's going to be awesome to see everyone doubt them again. And, okay. Sure.
Yeah.
People are doubting you.
Prove it. They lost. They didn't play very well last night.
That's
Although Florida deserves credit, man.
Florida deserves credit. That's exactly what we thought was going to happen. I thought the Oilers would win. Full disclosure, it's on tape.
You did. You were like, they're going to tie up the series and they're going to head back. And we talked about the possibility of the mojo and the excitement. And now the vibe is going to be we're going to get to see a Stanley Cup Final game. Mm-hmm. Let's hope something miserable doesn't happen. That's basically going to be people are going to be jacked up. And yes, they could go home and win 2 games, but certainly right now it seems unlikely. Who knows if Draisaitl's hurting? Nurse, who knows if he can play? It looks like it could possibly be the end of the line, not very far away, right?
Well, yeah, it feels that way.
Bottom line is if you, whatever happens going home, like last night was, must win but not must win, but must win type of thing.
Figuratively speaking, it felt like a must win.
Thursday's a must win. Like you got to at least enter into the series, regardless of positive speak and moral victories and that. You have to win Thursday. Like hands down, whatever it takes to win, to even get back into the conversation to go, we're making this a series, because 2 Cobb is 2 Cobb. And, Florida's top guys. Now, I will say, Barkov's a question mark. Ekblad looked like he rolled his ankle. That's not, although I thought he was fantastic last night.
He was.
I thought Ekblad did not have a good game 1. I thought he was one of the best players last night on the ice. And then you throw in the chokehold, too, which was...
That was a tough night for Bouchard. That was another thing we were talking about. Like, he gets a primary assist on the Rodriguez goal where I don't recall the last time someone just said, here, tape to tape, and next thing you know, it's in the back of the net. And I don't recall the last time someone was trying to tap out outside of an octagon in the UFC.
That looked like a tap out.
Ekblad was choking him out where he's like, you have to stop here. I'm actually going to pass out here.
He couldn't breathe. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever been in a tussle at a bar or anything where somebody's grabbed you. Like the rear naked
move.
Choke. I got a bouncer one time at Squires at a bar in Edmonton. Guy grabbed me from behind. I was just standing there. I was watching a fight, but I think he thought I was in it. I went limp. Like, I don't know what you're supposed to do.
It's terrifying, man. I had the same thing. I was wearing a hat. I was told multiple times not to wear a hat. This club called Tonic downtown. And finally, like the 3rd time, the guy just didn't ask. He just literally choked me out, dragged me out. I was probably like 16, too.
Isn't
I wasn't
it scary?
supposed to be there.
It
was
scary.
terrible. It was terrible. And that's what I know what Bouchard was thinking last night. He's like, I'm going to pass out here. Like, there's 20,000 people here. I'm on the ice. And I didn't love, again, game within the game, the fact that he just kind of turned around and said, hey, don't do that anymore. Like, it was 3-1 at that. Like, why are you not hacking or whacking? Why isn't someone coming over there and laying a beating on Ekblad or doing something to Ekblad?
Yeah.
And it just was as if the Oilers, outside of Draisaitl on Barkov, which was really greasy, he's not going to get suspended. I'm not surprised he's not going to get suspended because of this situation. They're down 2-0 going back. It's Draisaitl. They didn't suspend Bennett earlier in the playoffs, but he knew what he was doing there. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing. And, Barkov was in a precarious position, yet he had the puck. But he knew what he was doing. He got him in the head. I don't know what to make of Barkov moving forward because there really wasn't an update after the game. And today, Maurice just said he's not worse, so that could be a good sign. But Marchand, he had to come out of the series because of protocol. Nylander, we all know what happened there to start the series. Like, if he's in protocol, is it Barkov's choice? I don't think so. I thought the league stepped in there.
I was talking to somebody last night. And they said they are not announced. There's no way you announce concussion.
Right, of course. They don't want to announce
that. If you do, that's mandatory 1 week, I believe, through protocol.
But isn't that on the league, though, Noodles, to be like, great, we don't care what you want to call it. We are going to investigate here and figure out what happened to this guy.
Understood. And the only thing that would save grace, because you don't always – a headshot isn't always a concussion. I thought he looked like he broke his jaw or something like that. He was holding the right side of his face. I don't know what the outcome that you hope for. Obviously not concussion because that comes with a waiting period. If there's a hairline fracture in his jaw, he can still put a bubble on.
What actually hit Barkov's face? Was it his glove or
was it his forearm or his elbow?
I think it was the outside of his right elbow. Yeah. I don't think it was. It was
because at first glance I watched it and I'm like, is that really that bad? And then you watch kind of close up.
There's another angle that doesn't look great, but
that angle, it's like that just looks like a push. But then you kind of get different angles.
That angle looks a little tougher. Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
And the other thing too is, when you hit, skates come off the ice. He did launch. He launched, like he did push. Now you're trying to hit through a guy. I don't know if 100% he's like, I'm going to elbow this guy in the face, but you still have to be responsible for your actions. And, I thought both, I don't know how you guys feel. I think both general managers woke up today calling the league complaining about the refs.
Yes.
Because I didn't think I didn't think that was a 5. I thought
that was all reactionary. The way he went down.
I thought it looked pretty bad, though. Like, that was a knee, for
but
sure.
It was a knee,
5?
too.
But if the guy got up, it's 2 minutes.
I agree with you, and that's kind of what...
You go down like that in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and it's like, this hurts way worse than it does.
Well,
and I know he left the ice, and then he did return. But if you stay down like that, the referee's saying, that's really bad.
Well, and I thought it was a Charlie horse because it didn't hit his knee. It hit his left thigh, which still, again, but you could argue that Bennett did that on Bouchard earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Right? If Bouchard lays there, what are you dealing with? Like, it's hard. Every hit is different. But I thought, okay, they could have – I love that they call 5 and then they take a peek at it. But they didn't really – they took a peek and they were like, that's a 5.
Yeah,
and you're
although
done.
Edmonton won the 5-minute kill, 1-0. Right?
Yeah, which was...
like that's where I thought,
So, Hayes,
okay,
they
it's their
announced
night.
there's no suspension for Bart. Like, there will be no discipline for
that's the reports.
Draisaitl.
Like, I don't think the league makes an announcement on if they're not doing anything, but my understanding is Carrick got fined for the spear at the end of the game, and that's it. That's the only supplemental discipline, which means Draisaitl's not even getting fined. Like, he's not even getting on the books to relive that conversation. So he's fine. He's playing. We'll see what happens with Barkov. I thought the officiating was awful last night on both sides, but ultimately I also think the better team won. You could argue the better team lost in game 1, but we talked about that. If you're the better team and you don't win, it's meaningless. It's worthless.
Right.
And Florida was always going to play better. And I thought, the Oilers' best players, I thought Draisaitl was sleepy. I thought McDavid had a lot of empty calories last night. Like he was doing the Nick Robertson, spinoramas, stops and starts, and he couldn't get inside. And I think the Panthers, you could watch them. They're like, go ahead, man, put on a show, escapades, go do a triple axel while you're at it. You're not getting in here, and he wasn't, largely ineffective. And I don't think it's a surprise that the Panthers are up 2-0 when we're through 2 games, and Connor McDavid has 1 assist, and Leon Draisaitl doesn't have a point.
Well, what's frightening, guys, and you guys can tell me, this should be frightening for the Edmonton Oilers. Have you think the Panthers, do you think that they've thrown the A-plus game at them yet?
I think defensively they did last night, I thought they didn't.
But I mean the full meal deal complete where they just overwhelmed Boston.
Where Kachuk and Reinhart scores, and
that would be the one concerning thing. Obviously, you're going to have optimism, and McDavid says he looks forward to the response of the group. But I don't even know if you've seen the A++ from Florida where it's like Bobrovsky plus Reinhart plus Kachuk, and it's like Montour. So that would be a scary thing. That would be a daunting thing for the Edmonton Oilers.
I think what you're going to see from Edmonton is they've got to expect that game and more from Florida last night. And what I mean by that, we were talking about it yesterday. Like, Bobrovsky stole game 1, that's fine. Game 2, that's more what they're that team's capable of. And you're right, you're going to get more goals, you're going to get more production from other guys. But I thought the coaching for Florida, the adjustments, Edmonton couldn't get any speed through the neutral zone. And that was the biggest adjustment I noticed because in game 1, Edmonton was 1 pass speed through the neutral zone attacking the net. There was no ice available to Edmonton last night, to the point where they were trying to make stretch passes and the D were just picking them off and stepping up. And there was no sustained pressure from Edmonton that was threatening towards the goaltender.
I think the biggest compliment you can give to that coaching, Jamie, is how they play when they're down 1 Cobb. I think, Brian, you mentioned it yesterday, the lack of panic where they're just like, this is what's available, this is how the game is, we're down 1, and they just have a belief, and they don't cheat, and it's not like stupid hockey or they're any kind of panicky. It's just the ultimate coach compliment I think you could give to a coach where it's like they just stay the course, man, and they know that ship is going to turn and they're going to do some damage, and they do. It's impressive to watch.
Yeah, it is.
They played well.
They're
they
doing to Edmonton what Vegas did to them last year.
Yes.
That's what that looked like last night.
Overwhelm them.
Just give them nothing. Like you said, clog up the middle of the ice. Like McDavid, again, I can't stress this enough. Watching him, I'm like, this guy is is skating a mile a minute, yet he's going nowhere. Like it just he's how many times was he behind the net, stops and starts, back up the sidewall, and then he just looked defeated. He's like, pass. He's like, you try something. Like that is something you do not see from that cat. I
felt that they were trying to be a little like their power play. You hit 3 posts, so that things could be a little bit different there. That's the one thing. Like they're 0 for 7 on their power play. I said this before the series. I think their power play has to win them a game.
Yep.
And they were 0 for 4 last night. You get a 4-on-4 goal. And to me, special teams have to be a difference maker, especially when Edmonton has that dagger, has that creativity. But Florida has a great penalty kill. They were aggressive. Even McDavid in his comments after the game last night, he says their penalty kill is different. And it's been jamming them up. Mm-hmm. Way too many passes, way too many cute things. You're right. McDavid doing the empty calorie stuff, that works on a team that gets spread out. Florida doesn't get spread out.
Well,
so
they're getting into the zone, right, Noodles? Like
yeah.
you've been saying for years, like McDavid is a one-man zone entry, and he's doing that.
Nobody's going to stop him. They're getting the setup. They're not getting the looks they want.
Exactly.
Because it's like, hey, we're going to circle the wagons, go around the top, try and open up a seam to the back door, throw it back door. Ekblad, 6'5", long stick, poke it away, away we go.
Yeah, Forsling waiting for it.
Barkov along the wall, take a hit, little chip play into space, down the ice it goes. Mm-hmm. Like Florida deserves a lot of credit for some of the systematic things that they're doing. The challenge now for Edmonton is to adjust. Look and go, what do we have here, and what can we do on home ice? Get our matchups, get our speed. I thought in Game 1, Edmonton looked really fast. I thought in Game 2, Florida looked fast. Like they looked like they were on top of it.
I agree.
So,
and here's another concern is that history would suggest Edmonton's in the same spot that Tampa was in, Boston was in, New York was in, and they couldn't figure it out because 5-on-5, Kucherov did nothing, Pasternak did nothing, Zibanejad did nothing, Panarin did nothing. Now through 2 games, McDavid and Draisaitl have done nothing. That's very concerning.
The eliminators, man.
Yeah, and those are the best players in the league. We're talking Kucherov, Pasternak, Draisaitl, McDavid, Panarin. Like those are Hart winners and Hart nominees, the best of the best, and they completely neutralize them. And that's the lesson. You see Leaf fans talking about it, Habs fans, Sens. Everyone does the same thing. Oh man, my team, they're not even close. You watching this, and it's not like, oh, well, because Rodriguez got away, or, hey, did you see that stop? It's the way that these championship teams play. It's not a surprise. Like, it's generally the same formula every single year. Are there rarities where teams come out of nowhere and they play a little bit different, they get one? Yes, it happens over time. But 8 times out of 10, it's this. It's a team that absolutely makes you feel claustrophobic on the ice.
Well, there's teams like Chicago where they popped up and they won 3 of them, and their best play, they just played better than everyone else. Mm-hmm. Patrick Kane and Jonathan Toews and Patrick Sharp and Duncan Keith, they played better. They didn't let other teams blanket them and shut them down. Mm-hmm. They always made things happen. So there's an example of a team that just didn't smother you with physicality, in neutral zone trapping, in eliminating space, time, all of that stuff. They just got it done.
Yes.
That was a different way. But the LA Kings, the Vegas Golden Knights, these guys, Colorado was
even
probably
Tampa when they won, man. They were winning 2-1 games and blocking shots and hitting guys, and their defense were monsters.
Well,
it's
they playing for keeps. That's what it is, guys. I'll give you an example. You talked about the Rodriguez first goal. If you look at it, if you go back to how that play starts, that's Ryan McLeod along the wall on the other side in his own zone. And you got to go farther back on this play if you're going to show it, because it goes on the other side. And
this
Ryan
was
McLeod
wild
does
from Bouchard, though. I hear what you're saying.
No, but here's the thing: it's a poor turnover. Ryan McLeod has the puck on his stick, doesn't want to take a hit, chips it up the wall. Then, as Bouchard gives it away, who's the guy in the lane trying to block it? It hits his ass. Like, either block it or get the hell out of the way.
Right.
Like, listen, Bouchard turned that puck over. It should have never gotten to that.
Should not have been in that position.
And the details, that's what's going to kill you, is a small – because right now, looking at Florida, they don't make those mistakes. They don't make soft plays in their own zone where, hey, I'm afraid to take a hit and I'm just going to pop it up the wall. It's, I'm going to take that hit and I'm going to get it up the wall, and if that defenseman makes a great play to keep it in, so be it. But to me, those are the we talked about game one. The Oilers played a pretty damn good game, but they had 2 critical errors, and it ended up in the back of their net. Those are errors that are differences in the game. Florida's not making them. Edmonton is.
Well, especially if you're Edmonton, if you can't score. You know,
You're
like
right.
they have 1 goal through 120 minutes in a cup final. That's never going to cut it. And that's got to change. They got to find a way to break through. And again, these are the best offensive players in the world. This is like McDavid is the best offensive point producer since Mario Lemieux. Like that's what we're witnessing here. That's where he is in terms of his caliber. And this guy's 2 games into the finals, and he picked up an assist on the Ekholm goal last night. And that's it. You know, and he had chances in game 1. He had the breakaway last night, but it's going to be on him. Like you need depth, of course, but McDavid's got to have a game. Like game 3, he has got to come out like a rocket fuel, and he's got to point produce.
Somebody does,
got
Brian.
to do it. They
Somebody
have to
does.
do it.
Who's going to be their Rodriguez? Rodriguez has got 3 cookies in the finals. Like
that's significant.
It's not like Matthew Tkachuk and Reinhardt are burying them. Someone's just got to make a play and come up big. It's got to be somebody. We can until we're blue in the face, just be like, it's McDavid and Draisaitl. Somebody's got to do it. And if it ain't those 2 guys, somebody else has.
Right, because you're in a cup final. You need a spark. You're in a cup final. You're not dead in the water, but you're in big, big trouble. And, you know, now you got to chew on it for 2 days, right? And Thursday night, game 3. So Mike Johnson coming up. Johnny was there last night. Bill Lindsay will join us. He's, former Panther. He covers the Panthers. He'll join us as well, get his take on it from a Panthers side of things. Confirmed tonight coming up this hour. Jay's back in action tonight. The U.S. Open down at Pinehurst. There's a lot to get into today. Yeah. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4.
I can neither confirm or deny that this is in fact a segment.
Austin trades Andrew Raycroft to Toronto in exchange for the rights to Tuukka Rask.
It's been my honor and a privilege to serve as the general manager of the Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey Club.
It's time for Confirm or Deny.
Do you regret giving all those gentlemen the no trades or no movement clauses?
I can neither confirm or deny that.
I can't confirm or deny.
Confirm or Deny brought to you by Summit Ford in Southlake. Ford Lincoln, where there's no such thing as a no trade clause. Any make, any model, anytime. Visit summitford.com or southlakeford.com. See Jerry with DJ Khaled last night.
Was that last night or game 1?
Maybe it was game 1. I saw it online last night.
Yeah, I thought I saw that game 1, but either way, it was an awkward transaction, don't you think?
It was really strange.
That was the McDavid picture. Basically.
It was. Yeah, DJ Khaled is way bigger than Jerry, man. I didn't know Khaled was so big. But Jerry is really awkward.
He's like, get away from me.
Yeah, it's an awkward scene there. And he was in the box with Charles Barkley was there last night. I saw, Bettman was there. Bill Daly was up there. A couple other celebrities kicking around there. They seem to be having a great time down there in South Beach.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good crowd. It was loud. Yeah. It looked like, again, there were people complaining early on in the second period. Like, people are allowed to go and take a leak and get some beers. It's
right,
like,
exactly.
Look at how empty it is. I'm like, it's not empty. Guys are, it's people stop you. Like, you got to go take a leak. You have to wait till that whistle.
Mm-hmm.
One factor for this series. The travel's been talked about and documented because it's a long way away. I think it's the longest away a finals has ever been. It's a lot shorter for Florida. Like, I think that flight's a lot longer for the Oilers, and it will continue to be. Like, if you got to go back. Like, imagine if Florida's going back 3-1, how much longer it would seem for Edmonton than Florida. Like, I just think that travel it's going to feel like 2 more days for the Edmonton Oilers. Florida's like, let's get up there and get one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
They're a lot more energized.
When you're up 2-0, your attitude's different. That's really what
That's right. That's why I think the attitude plus just where your mindset is plus the travel, I think it could be a factor in what happens because you're dragging your tail back to Edmonton. It's everything seems like it's long and dragging out and get this over with type stuff.
All right. Well, confirm or deny the Cup Final will go at least 6 games.
How can you say that, man? How could you possibly
it's a
bring
question.
That
you can confirm it or deny it.
It's the same as what I saw today on 17. How could you bring that to my plate?
I'm confirming it. I'm confirming it.
Okay, let me go first. I'm denying it. I'm denying it. I should have went like that right to your face.
Well,
I'm denying it.
No. You're denying it. Okay.
I just recency bias, man. They're down 2 Cobb.
I hear you.
And as I mentioned, I think Barkov's ultimately going to play. They haven't got to their A++ game, which is frightening. I think it's over rather quickly. I hate saying it. Edmonton with injuries, what's their lineup going to look like? I just can't. Al's brother, I can't see it happening.
What's Al's brother
have to do with
What the hell is Al's
That's
brother?
his saying. That's his saying where he's like, I just can't see it happening.
I see. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Al's
Yeah,
brother.
I
You're
thought you
bringing
meant-
Al's brother voodoo into this? That stings for Edmonton.
If Al's
That's
brother
like a
sang,
Drake curse.
if he's saying, basically that's where I started to lean Florida the minute that Drake sniffed in it. It was like,
you're right.
You're betting
You're
money
right.
on it. I'm like, okay, Florida's winning this. I still think Edmonton can have a response. Like this has been a team that's been pretty resilient. And you mentioned A++. I don't think we've seen Edmonton's A++ either, because A++ is actually executing, not just generating chances. So I think there's one game, but the critical game's Thursday. Honestly, let's be honest. Like if you make it 2-1, then I think it goes 6. If it's 3 Cobb, then it's a 4 or 5. That's it.
I think Edmonton's going to get at least one in Edmonton. So the question for me is, does it end Game 5 with DJ Khaled and Jerry down in South Beach? And I've been saying I thought long series. I thought Edmonton would win last night, but I'm going to deny this as well. I'm starting to think this is going to be done in 5 or less.
I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, that's not good, man. It's not good mojo for the Oilers. But I just, Florida has dismantled teams throughout the playoffs. Like they had Tampa down 3-0. They beat Boston in 6, I believe. They beat New York in 6. They've been the best team in the league all year in terms of winning, like being programmed to win the cup and play playoff hockey. And Edmonton's been great too. Edmonton's a very good team. They're better than they were last night, but they may have met their match here. Florida.
I talked to somebody yesterday, Hayes, who watched the Rangers series against the Panthers, and he just said every part of Florida's game is like so physical and so mature that it just ultimately there's just no weakness, and they smother people, man. Like they're just so big and physical and good and all of it. It's just so mature and so physical. It's so tough to stop.
Yep.
Like,
they're
so
loaded,
tough,
man. They're loaded. So, I hope I'm wrong on this. I want to see this go 6 or 7. I'd love to see it turn into a great series. But I'm going to deny it right now. Confirm and deny. Sidney Crosby will be the captain for Canada at the Four Nations Cup and the 2026 Olympic Games.
Wow. Deny.
Ooh, quick denial. Sneaking in with a denial.
Go ahead, Jamie.
The Olympic, I can see the Four Nations Cup, no problem. The Olympic Games, is it like he's on the Olympic team? Probably, like not 100%. And is it figurehead captaincy?
That's what I'm asking here. I mean, remember when Lindros was the captain in '98? How awkward that was. Gretzky's sitting there on the bench with an A on his jersey.
Yeah, but here's why I'm going to deny it. Crosby will be the captain at the Four Nations, and just like Joe Thornton when he said, "Little Joe Pavelski, it's your team now. It's Little Joe's team." Sidney Crosby's going to say, "McDavid, it's your time to shine. I'll be the A. It's your time to take over the helm. I'm not going to be that kind of captain to just say I'm the captain and not be like an integral part, playing an integral position. I'm handing it over. I'm denying it. He'll be the captain at the Four Nations Cup, and then he's going to say, he might even do it, but he might even do it at that. So, you know what?
You might as well, right?
You might as well get it over with. Take the Band-Aid off and say, McDavid, you're the captain now.
That would be a classy play.
It would be.
To say, I've had my time, which he has.
Now it's your time.
Yeah. That would be a classy play. I don't know if it's going to happen.
It would be a classy play, wouldn't it?
It would be very classy. It would be very classy. It would be like congratulating someone on a great match, and being very cordial about that.
But does McDavid walk into the room with a C on his jersey already reaching out to say thank you?
Exactly.
That's what you did to him.
Well,
though.
no, I mean, listen, I earned it. He maybe hasn't. This is more superficial, like who's going to be the captain, and it's like we had to earn it. We had to put the ball in the hole noodles. Where this is, this is a collective decision. There also could be an awkwardness from McDavid. He may say, I don't want that if Sid's around. I don't want to be the guy where this guy's, I'm fielding the questions and there's Sid standing there in the corner.
It's not going to be like Sid's so classy that he'll have all this taken care of beforehand.
I agree with you.
That's a phone call saying, look, man, this is how this is going to play out. You want to go with it or not? Because if you feel uncomfortable, then we won't. But here's what I'm thinking. Sidney Crosby's no dummy. He knows how to handle these situations. This doesn't need to have any involvement with anybody else except Sid and Connor McDavid.
Agreed.
You're right.
Now, again, though, what I would say is the easiest way around any of this, not controversy or whatever you want to call it, the awkwardness of the position, is to just give it to Sid, right? You're the elder statesman. You are the captain of captains. You're the guy. You've won. You're the leader. You know, because that's another thing that is going to come up, even though it could be unfair. If the Oilers lose this, McDavid still hasn't won anything in his career. Sid has. Sid's won gold medals. Sid's won cups. Connor hasn't.
Right.
Like, that probably should be considered.
Yeah. Maybe for the Four Nations, you want Sid to be the captain.
That's what I'm saying. Let someone else go out there, and you just go out there and rip it up and be the best player. Everyone knows the role McDavid's going to play. That's not up for dispute. I'm going to confirm this, that he'll be the captain for both.
But, okay, say Connor's first win is a fourth Nations Cup or whatever. Like, is he like, nay, like,
I don't know what that's
call
worth.
Draisaitl, like, hey, I got a Four Nations Cup. Sorry you didn't make the.
Sorry, Holland, I'm not going to make it back. We're parading in Toronto. I'm going to party in Toronto. I can't make it back in time.
To me,
FaceTime, what's up? Four Nations Cup.
Four Nations.
Like that's
Let's
the
get
only
him
thing. Like, it's good for best on best hockey, but it's just like, what do you even get? What did they get in 2016? When Marchand scored the goal with a minute left.
A handshake on 17.
I don't know.
I don't think they got much more than that, to be fair.
Okay, it was just like, that's the only thing. Like, winning is winning, but you got to, like Strutty talks about his silver medal, whereas a Spengler.
That's a Spengler,
listen, that's a great tournament. But
love the Spengler.
Love the Spengler. But it just, I look at it, I agree with O. I think Sidney is a classy guy. He's going to have that all sorted out. And he might even have a conversation with McDavid. McDavid's a classy guy going, you're the captain every day of the week.
Someone tweeting in with a good point. In 2002, it was Mario, right? Like, Lemieux was 20 years into his career, and it was like, you're the captain. It's not Joe Sakic's team. It's not Yzerman's team. It's not Pronger's. Like, how could you not give it to Lemieux?
Right.
All right, moving on here. You guys see this story? Mandatory minicamps all over the NFL, and Aaron Rodgers didn't show up because he had a different event that he chose to attend. And the Jets, because they're the Jets, they could have just said we excused him from this mandatory minicamp. They chose not to do that, so now it's going to be a circus, right?
What do you mean? What is their course of action? They're saying we're pissed. We didn't know you were going to do this.
They're basically, we have the Saleh clip. Why don't we play it? All right. So this is what Saleh had to say when he was being grilled about it. The media shows up. Mandatory camp. This is your quarterback who played 4 snaps last year, who has been on a campaign tour trying to run for vice president, or was thinking about it. And this is a guy also in Aaron Rodgers, who has said on the record many times, we got to stop with all the bogus activity around this team. It's got to be about football.
Anything that's not to do with winning.
Anything that's not about football, screw it. It's out of here. This is amateur hour. We got to change. And now you got mandatory minicamp for the quarterback, and he chose to go somewhere else.
Busy.
And here's what Saleh had to say about it.
Aaron and I spoke before OTA started. He's been very good in communication. He's been here the entire time. It's inexcused, but he had an event that was very important to him, which he communicated.
Both are inexcused.
Both inexcused. Yes.
So are they getting fined?
They're both subject to the CBA fine schedule.
So inexcused for your 40-year-old quarterback coming off an Achilles tear for, again, I can't express this enough. Anyone that knows pro sports, your quarterback has to be there all
Bryan,
the time.
Why are you shocked at this?
I'm not. He doesn't care
shame
about
on
football
you if they
anymore.
surprise that this would happen.
What is the event? That's what I want to know.
What I'd like
this
to know,
is what
too.
I want to know, because if the event is his sister's wedding or something like that, you're like,
Right.
okay. But if it's literally when Kyrie was on that Zoom call during the game.
I know, but this guy's a Looney Tune. Like, he might have dug a hole and geared down and crawled in the hole for 24 hours or something. That might have been the event.
It could be an ayahuasca rave or something. And 'cause
Yes.
if it was a wedding, it would be excused. Saleh would say his sister's getting married, and Aaron's there, and we want him to be there, and we gave him the day off.
But there's no way in hell they should be shocked. Just look at the pattern of behavior in Green Bay.
Buffoonery.
And shame on them if they didn't think something like this was going to pop up.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's the question. Confirm or deny Aaron Rodgers is entering his final season with the New York Jets.
100% confirm. I think it's his final season in pro football.
Mm-hmm.
And
I'm not sure he gets through the whole season.
I don't either, man. You see it. You saw how innocent that play was, and he blew out his Achilles 4 snaps in. I don't see it lasting very long.
Yeah.
And I completely, and I'm sorry to my buddy Matthew Barnaby and anyone who's a Jets fan, I think it's going to be a sideshow gong show again. I really do. I think it's unavoidable.
The circus follows this guy around. That's basically what it is. Last year, I mean, everything with him, it's almost like a little bit LeBron-ish. It's just you got to be in the news cycle, got to be like the difference is LeBron is an absolute machine and plays for the most part every night.
Mm-hmm.
This guy, 4 snaps and, you should be there unless it's an absolute funeral or a wedding or something.
But it's not because, again, it would be excused if it was.
Yeah, you're right.
Like if it was something that came out of nowhere, someone's in a hospital or something. Okay.
Right.
This clearly is an event he chose. Like, I can't even wrap my head around this. Dude, you got a job, mandatory job at Jets minicamp, and this guy goes, no, I've got something else that is more important to me, and I have to be there. And then what he will do is he will show up, and he will start scolding people when he gets back into camp about how guys aren't taking it seriously, and this isn't, I think you lose all right to any of that if you're Aaron Rodgers with this move. Like, everyone else is there. There's one other pass rusher not there, but that's a contract thing. He's not there because he wants to get paid. That's totally different. Rodgers chose a different event over a team activity. It's absurd.
What does that say
it's actually
to your
absurd to even say that.
I want to know the event because I
want
guarantee
to
it's
so
some
badly.
dorky event. Like
it's going to get out.
A political thing I'm telling you, he geared down and crawled into a muddy hole and covered himself up with mud for 24 hours. Dude, I'm telling you.
We should have speculation what it is. We should have each one of us should have a guess of what it is.
Yeah.
And then
the fact that O's suggestion is not that far-fetched.
Yeah, you didn't say, oh, my God, that's crazy, O-Dog. You shouldn't have said that. You thought to yourself,
I could see
he might have geared down and crawled into a muddy hole.
He could have. It's possible. It's possible. Who knows? Maybe the event comes out and you're like, I guess, I don't know. But again, I think the Jets would reason with this guy because they need him. They're so desperate. And this speaks to how desperate teams are when it comes to quarterbacks. And the fact that they went public with this, again, is a bit surprising to me. Now, maybe they felt they had to because of a CBA thing, and if he's going to get fined, they need to announce, okay, he got fined because we didn't excuse him. But it's almost as if they could have, if they wanted to, avoided this sideshow by just saying, we excused him. Like, he's somewhere where we know where he is. It was important to him. It was important to us. He'll be back tomorrow. Instead, the Jets chose chaos, right?
Well, they're pissed. They're pissed.
They are pissed. But is it going to be in their best interest long term?
Dude, they chose chaos
this is going to be a circus.
As they brought that guy into the fold.
Yeah.
That's when they chose
Packers,
chaos.
Like, look at the Green Bay Packers. And I understand
couldn't
I'm
wait.
biased.
As great as that guy is at his age, they couldn't wait till he left the building.
Could not wait to get rid of him. And they are so happy. They are so happy right now. Like, look what they just did last year. They made the playoffs. They smoked the Dallas Cowboys, and the Jets are still in disarray. That's the difference between a program that is run properly, that has balance, that has integrity, that has ethics, that holds people accountable, where you got a winning culture, and when you've got a zoo on your hands, this is what you get. And it's probably the worst place Rodgers could have gone because he was already in a position where clearly his mind is adrift. Football is not the highest priority for him. And you go to a place like New York in the Jets where it's a circus anyway, gong show. Show. And that is exactly what you're getting. I love that the NFL's right around the corner. How about the Argos winning the other night, too?
Yeah.
That was huge, man. They were down big, and the Argos, without Chad Kelly, there's obviously some concerns about what could happen with them in the future.
Ballsy. Love it. Get the nail gun on. Get the nail gun on, Doogie. Get see if the nail gun wants to chat today.
We should get the nail gun on to just kind of chat what's cracking, man. I mean, they got off to a good start against BC.
I was watching the end. It was pretty close.
Yeah, it was.
Like, I honestly, I wasn't sure what to expect from the Argos this year because obviously they're off-season, the Chad Kelly situation, but it was a gutsy win, man. That was what I got out of it. Gutsy.
They're like I saw Korolnik, who Aaron knows the ins and outs, man. He's still leaning towards the Argos having a big year, which I think speaks to the East and
AK
not a lot of
saying the Argos are having a big year?
I believe he picked them to win the Grey Cup. Pretty sure he still picked them to win the Grey Cup because they keep it together, get into the playoffs. If Kelly returns, teams in the East are not exactly loaded. Anything's possible, and a good start the other night with the Argos winning at home. All right, we're going to continue Confirm or Deny into the next hour. Confirm or Deny brought to you by Summit Ford and South Lake Ford Lincoln, where there's no such thing as a no-trade clause. Any make, any model, any time. Visit summitford.com or southlakeford.com. So we'll continue that throughout the afternoon. Michelle Beadle coming up today. Dan Rappaport from Pinehurst. We got Bill Lindsay coming up on the Panthers win last night, them being up 2-0, heading to Edmonton. What he expects there. Updates on Barkov. Lots to get into in the Jays. Back in action tonight in Milwaukee.
Hazy, I talked to our buddy Scotty Bale down at Pinehurst with Keegan Bradley. We're trying to set up a FaceTime with some kind of golf vista from Pinehurst. He can give us a caddy's look in to the greens, all the things that are happening down at Pinehurst.
I like kind of like a Johnson Wagner type vibe, right? Just checking out what's cracking around the greens. And
I want to know what is up with his mustache because he is committed to it.
He loves it.
Dude, you spoke with him.
I had a great time with him. He's an awesome guy. He looks like Burton
Did it
Cummings.
come up at all? Why he?
No, you can't ask a grown man why you have a stash.
Burton Cummings?
Dude, go look at Burton Cummings in 1977. He's on his little Kissio.
I know, but this guy
crushing it.
Is a prominent Golf Channel broadcaster, and he doesn't have like a hipster little cookie duster that's like hipsterish. It's a full-blown man, Tom Selleck, Magnum PI, full-blown mustache.
Right. Yes. Like you have to groom that. That thing takes time. You got to book appointments for that mustache.
Yep.
And he's committed to it. I don't know what else to tell you, man. It's a wild scene being face-to-face with it. I've been face-to-face with that
you
mustache.
Have.
Did you just stare at it, though? Like it's a focal point?
It's very difficult not to just
if you're having a cold one and you're eye to eye and you're just man-talking, it is hard not to just take a deep dive right and look right at that.
Yeah. It's mesmerizing. It is mesmerizing. I'll be honest. All right, Bill Lindsay still to come. More Confirm or Deny as well. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. Father's Day is this Sunday, and Golf Town has everything a dad could want with the biggest and best assortment of brands and products. Listen to First Up and OverDrive this Friday for your chance to win a $500 Golf Town gift card for your dad. Or follow us on Instagram at TSN 1050 for another chance to win. Check out Golf Town's Father's Day gift guide today to find the perfect gift. Visit golftown.com and start shopping now. All right. I love it. The U.S. Open, of course, this week. You guys see John Rahm is reportedly pulled out of the U.S. Open.
So who wins our bet then? Didn't we?
Did we bet Rahm? How did we bet Rahm?
No, we didn't bet Rahm.
I don't think Rahm was included in anything yet.
No, he wasn't. You're right.
But he's out. Like, there's pictures of his foot circulating, which is so weird. But I guess he had, I don't know what he's got going on with his foot, but something with his toes. He pulled the shoot on Liv Houston, and now he's out. So
is it like a turf toe or something, or some sort
it looks like it's something where like antibiotics are fighting it or something. I don't know what's going on with John Rahm, but he's out. This guy has just been ever since he went to Liv. Like I think he missed the cut at Augusta. PGA was brutal. And now he's out of the U.S. Open.
Dude, I'm telling you, there's a guy, he took the money, but you look at the money that Scotty Scheffler is shoving into his jeans right now. Like, everybody says, look at the money, how do you say no to it? And that's ultimately true. But how much damn money do you need? You know what I mean? Scotty Scheffler might win $45 million this year.
Right. Exactly. And then endorsements and his legacy.
He's already got 100 in the bank, probably. Like, how much money do you really need? And just they say it's about legacy, like just being known as one of the greatest golfers and having all that money. Like, your grandkids can't spend all that money, for crying out loud. It just looks like a bad move from Rahm.
Yeah, it looks like it has affected him greatly. I mean, who knows what it means for the rest of his career, but on the short term, it looks that way. And I was talking with my partner, JD Duthie, about this today.
Dude, I'm going to get into when we come back from break. I got to I know he's your friend, but you saw some stuff where you're like, I'm worried about this guy's golf game and his mental approach.
He's our friend,
it's the weirdest ass stuff I've ever seen, man. Hayes, admit it.
I thought he was dialed in today. I loved his action. I loved everything that was happening.
No, you didn't. You didn't love his action. He is doing the aim point for triple bogey. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the standing where you're waiting.
He was wiggling his feet and going like this and then moving 2 fingers up, and I'm like, what the hell is this guy doing?
Yeah.
Nobody film it? Did you not film any of that?
It just wasn't kosher, Noodles. It wasn't an environment.
I'm worried about him, man. He's doing weird stuff, and it started at 7 a.m. on the range. I looked over, and he was doing all these funky drills. It's crazy what he's doing out.
Tin Cup with the hat, like remember Tin Cup? He was.
Yes, he's Roy McAvoy with all the things hanging off, and he's just got all these weird thoughts, and he's doing weird stuff.
Yeah. I'm a little concerned in some areas, but ultimately I thought he played well. We were victorious, and we were talking about how now I'm rooting for Scheffler to just have like a magical season. You know, it's gone this far. Win everything now. Yeah, so we can say we witnessed it, right? And then you can start having like Tiger in 2000 type chats. You might as well end it. You might as well close. Hour 2 coming up. Bill Lindsay on the Panthers win last night. Confirm or deny continuing. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050 and on the TSN app.